Hi everyone, welcome to Screenplay Central. Today I will be reviewing Ballerina by Shay Hatten. The logline reads, "After her family is murdered, an assassin seeks revenge on the killers." Many of you may remember this script from last year. It was featured on the 2017 Blacklist with 9 votes, and it also more notably sold in a six-figure deal and was kind of an addition to the John Wick universe. Shay Hatten was also 23 years old at that time, and so just major props to him being such a young screenwriter and already making a big name for himself. Um, so I'll tell you guys a bit about the story of Ballerina. Essentially, it follows a young assassin called Rooney who has basically grown up being an assassin. Her father was murdered when she was very young, and she essentially is very good at her job, very proficient, and she thinks she's doing good in the world. Essentially, she believes that she's killing the bad guys. And when she starts realizing that the people that she's killing isn't necessarily or aren't necessarily that bad, they're just kind of in the gray zone, if you want to call it that. She kind of wants to leave her life of work, and that's when she gets into trouble. She kind of falls for someone, falls in love with him, and then she has a family with him. But then her former employer essentially seeks revenge on her to kind of tie up that loose end, and that leads her on this tale of revenge. So right away, what you can tell from what I've described, it's a pretty straightforward story. It's not like we haven't seen this story before. It kind of follows a very formulaic structure and outline. But that's the thing. That's the interesting thing about it is it was still entertaining. It was still interesting to read. John Wick, for instance, understood what it was. There was no great meaning or depth to the film. It was just a great action film where it focused on its fight scenes and its choreography and its aura and ambiance. And that's what that film was. And similarly, I believe Ballerina is kind of like that. It's just a straightforward action film, but it has these unique elements, these unique traits to it that I haven't really seen anywhere else. So, for instance, we all remember in John Wick, there's that exclusive hotel where it's just for assassins and hitmen, and you're not allowed to kill people, and has all these intricate rules. And similarly, Ballerina had this kind of very deep mythology, this deep lore in it, where it's essentially this whole town full of assassins, and it's been there for 500 or 600 years, and they're essentially just dedicated to the art of killing and doing hits. And turns out Rooney, who's our main protagonist, killed the mayor's daughter, and so that whole town is out for revenge against her, and she has to like fight the whole town. So it was very unique. It's very interesting because you haven't really ever seen an action film done that way, where she just comes in and she's just gonna basically declare war on this whole town of killers. Kids, young adults, old people. Yeah, so people from all age ranges. So it's very interesting to kind of read that and see how it played out. So, like I was saying, I didn't really get any new insight on the human condition or a different way of seeing the world. But like I said, it was still very interesting to read, and it was just fun reading it. Shay Hatten, he has this way of writing where it's very electric and fast paced. Like I think I read the script in maybe an hour and 15 minutes, and it's a 100-page script. So it's pretty like you can get through it really quickly, and it's kind of like going through a chocolate bar. Like you just eat it, you enjoyed it, but then you kind of just feel empty afterward. Like you don't really know how to feel, and that's how I felt after reading Ballerina. I read it and I enjoyed it in the moment, but afterward I'm just like, Like if I watched this in a film form, I wouldn't feel like I wasted my time. I'd be like, okay, I was entertained. It was cool, but I don't know where to take it from there. Like, will I remember it in a year or in a week, in a year? I don't think so. But I think that's the general problem with many action films. They're not that memorable. You just watch them and you enjoy it in the moment, and you enjoy the fight scenes and the action. That's all it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. I do remember though, like I said before, Shay Hatten though definitely added in some unique elements. So for instance, I remember reaching page 35 of the script, and you reach that typical scene where your protagonist has to like, in that action scene in the action films when you have to like torture a guy to get information. We saw that in Taken with Liam Neeson having to torture a henchman to kind of see where's the bigger boss. So that's already happening on page 35 of the script. And I thought to myself, okay, that's interesting. So he tortures the person, she tortures the person. He gives the information, and she knows now where this town is. And I thought, wow, well, it's page 35. What is he gonna do for the next 65 pages? And so I was kind of interested in it. It turns out she's just gonna go and she's just gonna take on this whole village of assassins. And I'd never really seen an action film like that, where she's just gonna walk into this town with her arsenal and attack everyone. So I thought that was interesting and unique, and I think it shows that the writer was trying to make it different and original. And I think that type of effort paid off here because it understood what made John Wick special, which was the mythology and the lore of the assassins and kind of taking yourself very seriously. And he added that and made it even more elongated, like he exaggerated it more. And so I think that I'm not surprised at all that it's being added to the John Wick universe, and I'm really interested to see what happens in the future. In terms of what we can learn from it as aspiring screenwriters, I'm not sure because I'm not really sure if aspiring writers should write a script like this. I don't want to undermine Shay Hatten's success, but he did have connections. He had representation. Like if you look at him, he was an intern in Robert Downey Jr.'s company, and it's very possible that he heard in the industry that the John Wick producers were looking to expand the universe or the franchise, and so he wrote this on spec and just submitted it to a place. I'm not sure. So maybe those connections helped him. So I'm not sure if we, for instance, wrote like an action script that we think would be perfect for John Wick, that it would necessarily work. But you never know. I think ultimately we should write what we're passionate about, and if action films are your thing and it's these types of popcorn thrillers and action films are your thing, then by all means go for it, because I think ultimately it's our passion at the end of the day. And you can see in Shay Hatton's script there's a lot of passion. He really loves the action genre. He loves the scenes. There's these really neat scenes, and I don't really want to spoil it for you guys. I think you should check it out. Like I said, it's a very fast read, so I don't think you'd feel like you would waste your time at the end of it. In terms of my rating, I think you guys can tell it's a good, not great, but definitely you can learn a lot from the script in terms of just how to write clean action. I mean, was it repetitive? Yes. I mean, that's a problem with many action films. It's going to be a lot of action and shooting and fights, but I could see the film in my head. It was very cinematic, it was very visual, and that always helps when it's a screenplay. So again, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thanks for watching.